You're watching the Coaches Roundtable on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi. To my right, the Swami George Abraham. To my left, the Tiger Albert Campman. Guys, let's go to Spotlight. We have some high school basketball being played. Boys, top scorers, Cole Brooks of Seneca Valley. 2 games, he scored 37 and 35 points. The Raiders with a 2-0 start. Ryan Lang of Knock, 31. Chase Bailey of Karn City, 29 and 25. Michael Wells of Newcastle picking up where he left off last year. He had 29. Kyle Pry of Montauk, 29. Joey Dudkowski of Pine Richland, 27. Andrew Ammerman of North Catholic, 26. Greg Habib of North Allegheny, 26. Matt McDonough of North Allegheny, 23. If that name sounds familiar, he was with Vincentian last year. Nathan Waltman of Karn City, 22. Devin Carney of Butler, 20. Anthony Vargo of Mars, 20 for the girls. McKenna Mayer of Butler, 20. Aslan Pry of Montauk, 28 and 20. Dominica Logue of Union, Reimersburg, 20. And I'm going to make a correction. Last week I said those teams that wore masks versus those that didn't. If the one team didn't want to play, it was a forfeit. That's not true. It's a no contest.
Okay.
That's how they rule it. Okay. And when it comes to the playoffs, teams, they don't have to play. They can opt out. Any team doesn't, regardless of their record, if they don't want to play.
Yeah, I heard a coach this week say, an AD say, I don't care if our team gets off because that's all he already knows that they're that bad. We're not going. So in 2 games, he already knows when they're not going.
I think it was Mount Lebanon that said they are wearing masks, and some of their games have been canceled because the other teams refuse to wear masks. I don't know if Mount Lebanon's played yet, have they?
They were supposed to play Baldwin Friday night.
I haven't seen any record come up.
Someone refused to wear the mask, and so they didn't play. And then athletic directors at other schools said this, that they don't require the basketball players or the wrestlers to wear masks. However, when they come back to the bench, they have to wear them. If that makes sense to you at all?
I'm the wrong guy to ask because they're letting them wrestle, but they can't shake hands. So I'm the wrong guy to ask.
I mean, I'm not sure what that means. You don't have to wear it when you're out there playing basketball. When you sit in the bench, you have to wear it. Similar, I guess, to what the NFL does. And college.
The way some of them guard, 6 feet wouldn't be a problem. They're not close enough, so it is possible.
And in swimming, girls, Edie Sawyer, Seneca Valley, she broke her own school record in the 100 breaststroke in a win over Upper St. Clair. The Seneca Valley swim program has been terrific the last few years. And the Seneca Valley boys in wins over Upper St. Clair 185 and over Ken McMillan 136-46. They set 9 new school records.
So I guess it might be pretty good.
Their swim teams have been really good the last few years. Honors former Slippery Rock University star Jameer Dutrael. He received the NCAA, I hope I got his name right, Award of Valor for saving the life of a 9-year-old girl as gunshots were being fired several years ago. Jameer used his body as a shield in protecting the girl, and in the process, he suffered 3 gunshot wounds, one to the head that has impaired his vision to this day. He still has to receive therapy for that wound.
Yeah, when you talk about that, I think about my life where I never even dreamed about doing something like that. And they live like that every day.
He was a terrific wide receiver at the Rock.
Yeah. Pretty amazing.
Quite an honor to, a courage award of any type,
They don't give this every year.
No.
They give it whenever it's warranted.
Absolutely.
This is the first time in 3 years that they've made this award. He'll be honored virtually this Wednesday night. And in coaching, Mars boys coach, soccer coach Chris Knopf, he was named the 2020 Western Pennsylvania Soccer Coaches Class 3A Girls Coach of the Year. Did I say that right? No, Boys Coach of the Year. Excuse me. All right. Let's go to our stories of the week. Any guess as to what this one is? After 17 straight losses to the Steelers at Heinz, the COVID-riddled Browns pounded the Steelers 48-37 for their first playoff win since 1995 when Bill Belichick was the coach. Let's put this in perspective. Their 28 first quarter points, the most ever scored in NFL history in the first quarter in the playoff game. Their 48 points by a visiting team ties for second, the most ever scored by a visiting team. Number one was back in the 30s when Bill Bourne was there, when the Bears beat the Redskins 73-0. The Steelers, 5 turnovers. Roethlisberger, 4 interceptions, 68 passes, completed 47, did throw 4 touchdown passes, but the 4 turnovers. And 12 seconds into the game, Pouncey snaps it over Ben's head. And I'm watching Ben and Connor like playing, you get it, I'll get it. It didn't seem like they were in, and like there were 7 Cleveland Browns all over the ball in the end zone.
Well, that play set the tone for the whole game. So, I just thought the Steelers' defense was atrocious.
But
That's what I thought.
we've said that
I mean,
all year
it
long.
was
It's
atrocious.
good, but not great.
They didn't stop anything. I mean, they didn't stop run, pass, and when you can't stop somebody,
Can you win with 4 turnovers?
no, not using the NFL. Not in the NFL.
Here's the thing. Where was Minka Fitzpatrick? He disappeared.
All year
Watt
he's
disappeared.
all year he's
Last, 7 games? No turnovers for the Steelers. Where was some of their defensive
Hayward. He did
linemen?
nothing.
They were missing to it, and then the Browns' offensive line. Here's an offensive line. First of all, their Bill Callahan, their offensive line coach, and a backup offensive line coach, they weren't there. They couldn't be. They were missing 4 coaches, including the head coach, and they had guys they lost 2 players, offensive linemen, during the game. They had backups come in. Some guys had practiced for 1 day. And what a terrific job they did. What a game plan. How about their center? Is it Treader? Pulling and doing a lot of pancake blocks. They had a great system set up for the Steelers. They did a great job on their trap games, trapping the Steelers outside linebackers. I don't know where Watt was. They had a week's rest. Making fun of the Browns by a lot of people in Pittsburgh who said they beat the Steelers, the JVs, 24-22. Well, it looked like the other way around. The Browns varsity showed up, and the Steelers did look like a JV team.
Yeah, offensively, I thought they moved the ball, and they did. But Pittsburgh's defense has done nothing for the last 5-6 weeks. And it showed up again. That'd be my worry looking ahead. I still think offensively they'll be fine. Defensively, they are really looking like a below average defense.
Their last 3 losses at home in the playoffs, they've given over 30 points.
There it is, an example right there.
And the Browns averaged 4.3 yards a rush, 127 yards. I think they could have run the ball even more. The Steelers picked up 50 yards. They averaged like 3.3 yards per rush. This has been an ongoing problem. The offensive line is just not a blocking line. If I hear one more time about how physical the Steelers are, listen, that ship has sailed. That's what they used to be. They're not that way anymore. 4th and 1 at the Browns 40. And Tomlin, who says, we don't live in our fears, punts the ball. How shocked were you guys to see that?
I called George. I thought it was the worst decision in my Steeler history. You heard me say that. Steeler history. I still like to sit down with him and ask him, what would go through your mind that you scored 3 straight possessions, you got the ball, the total momentum's going your way, and you got 4th and 1, and you punt the ball? I'd like to know that. I have no idea what the
Didn't he
reason
punt
was.
twice in Cleveland territory?
I have no idea why that one.
I'm figuring when you're at this situation and you can't stop their offense, I wouldn't punt at all.
That's what we're talking about.
How many, we talk about this, you have to watch the game. If you haven't stopped them all day and you've scored 3 in a row, you go.
And then Ben's comment, whether it's right or not, he said, well, I wanted to go for it, but I was overruled by Tomlin. Okay. What? You threw your coach under the bus. Don't say anything. Talk about yourself. You threw 4 interceptions. All you can say in that situation is, if we can't make a yard, we don't deserve to win the game, which Tomlin said the week before.
Yeah, I think that's just
Well, guys,
that call. I don't understand it.
after an 11-0 start, they lose 5 of 6. This is another late season collapse. under Tomlin. 3 playoff wins in the last 11 years. 20 unsigned players for next year. They have the big pay issue with Roethlisberger. He's due 19 or 20 million. Even if they were to release him, they still take a $21 million
I didn't know
hit
that.
on the cap.
I didn't know that.
March,
Yeah.
he has to be off the roster by March, or he gets a $19,000 bonus. I believe it counts 30-something toward the cap.
Well, he gets 15 million salary plus a 4 million bonus.
It's ridiculous.
And he gets it even if they cut him? I mean, if they
No, they
release
have to cut him by March.
He still gets the 15 million, I think,
That's that
but
Cam
not the
Newton
4.
thing.
I didn't know the
that's
rule,
similar.
because I think he's done. I really do believe Ben's not coming back.
He said he hasn't decided. He
But I think in
hasn't-
his mind he has. I
but
was surprised he came back.
you know, we said this before about as great as Chuck Noll was, his biggest mistake was he held on to those guys way too long. Joe Green, Elsie Greenwood, he was, and it's understandable. He was so connected with those guys, he couldn't see fit to let them go, and they just didn't bring in enough new players. But the Steelers need to rebuild in the offensive line, and they need some defensive linemen.
And every team needs things, but you cannot win and
When one guy makes 1/6 of your cap,
put you in trouble.
And the cap's going to drop because of
Yeah, 'cause
loss
there's
of
no
revenue.
fans. Yes,
The cap's what, at 198? It's going to
gonna
drop to
drop
maybe
a little.
175, they're thinking, which is significant.
that's a star
Yeah.
player, plus one.
And like you said before, with what team? They gave the quarterback and
Yeah.
all the money. They can't put any defensive players out there.
It started way back with Flacco, and it went to Russell Wilson. It's like the next guy in the merry-go-round that gets the money. They think they got to deal with Mahomes at $500 million, but wait till that money starts showing up on the cap.
Well, they're going to get rid of a lot of veteran players. Let's look. I don't know if they can bring Pouncey back. I don't think Connor's going to come back. Some other players on the defense, maybe Hayden, Vince Williams, I don't think they're coming back. What about Juju? Did he have a great game? Yeah, 13 for 157 yards. I don't think he's going to be re-signed. He wants big money. Maybe he's going on to a new show, dancing on the logos. He made the comment last week, the Browns is the Browns. And that went all through Cleveland. And what was the first thing they were saying when the game was over? They were cheering the Browns. The Browns is the Browns. So when you say these things don't fire teams up, you really don't know human nature.
Juju won't be re-signed. They have enough receivers, so they know that. That's the one position they don't need to
There's only
re-sign.
so much money to go around.
So he will not be re-signed. There's just certain,
Watt wants $15 million a year.
There's another one too. That's what I'm
How do you
saying.
not pay him? He's player of the year.
They're going to pay him.
You're going to pay him $15 million a year.
They're going to pay him.
Well, so what do you do now with the Steelers? What do you say to Ben? What do you do with him if he insists he wants to come back? I don't think the Steelers want to cut him. I think they might quietly hope he retires.
And I think that's what they're saying to him. I said, and it's all because of money. They don't get rid of him because he's not any good. It's the money thing. You cannot sign enough players to play around him, and because you need a quarterback in the NFL. Not very, very seldom can you win at all in the NFL with that position. That position is that
Do
important.
they know if Rudolph's any good?
They know he's not. He's an average Joe. That's what they know.
Well, he's got the deep ball with him. How do you know unless you give him a chance to play?
I saw him play last year. I saw him that one.
Well, I know last year.
I saw him
I
that
understand, but
He's an average Joe.
But what do you do? They're not they're not going to get one of the top. There are about 8 or 9 quarterbacks out there. There's not going to be one available. They want to make a trade for a Matt Stafford. There you got salary. You got to pay him. Are the Jets interested in trading
Carson Wentz is the guy they should go get.
Big money.
There's no question. But if they get rid of Rossberger, then they got money left to
You
get
can
him.
switch him.
But once they get him, there's not much left.
I agree. It's
Because
tough.
they
It's a
gotta
tough decision.
eat
It
that
is.
contract.
It is.
Well, let's look at some of the other games out there. Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, 20, Tennessee 13 after 0-2 playoffs. Lamar finally gets a win. I don't think it quiets all the critics about him. He threw for 179, an interception, rushed for 136, playing much better than he did in the middle of the season.
Classic.
You
him.
surprised he
Not
was
many
sacked so
guys
many
can make that
times,
run.
though? You surprised he was sacked so many times? What was he sacked, 4 or 5 times?
They play the defense to sack him. They put their fast guys on the outside to contain him, made him come up inside. It was a good game plan. Their defense won that game, not their offense.
Remember we said that.
They shut Henry down.
last week. We
They shut
Baltimore's
Henry down.
defense.
Yeah.
Well, next up, they will be at Buffalo. Buffalo and Josh Allen, 27-24 over Indy. That was a really outstanding game. Cleveland now goes to Kansas City, and the game that you picked, the Rams 30 and Seattle 20. The Rams defense, Aaron Donald 2 sacks. They were all over Russell Wilson all day long.
Yeah, Seattle is like Pittsburgh. They have not played their best offensively for a long time. Now, defensively, Seattle played better at the end of the year. But offensively, they went in the tank. And with the Rams defense, you score a defensive touchdown, you have a chance to win an NFL if your defense scores a touchdown, and the Rams scored.
And the Rams did a pretty good job running the ball. Wolford started out at quarterback. He got
He got hit.
And then they put Gotts in. I didn't really expect him to play. We had the hand injury. I don't think he was going to either. And then he came in and did a decent job.
Yeah, because they ran the ball. You
That
understand,
running
when
the ball.
the Rams run the football, they can beat anybody. And when it's that simple. And when they can't beat anybody. Because Goff throws all play-action passes. He's not good on straight drop back. And so if Green Bay stops the run, then the Rams are in trouble. If the Rams run the football, they'll keep it away from Rodgers. It's interesting. They're a tough team because they're so good defensively.
And this time of the year,
Rams are dangerous.
you run the football. That's a huge
Yeah, that's what they're
advantage
gonna try to do.
And then you go back to the Steelers, not only rebuild the offensive line, they need a running back. They need a go-to running back. I like James Conner, what he's been through, but he's not their go-to running back. Tampa.
He's a good story, James
He's
Conner.
a good story.
Everybody roots for him. But in that league, you have to have somebody that can get a few yards on their own, break a tackle. I don't see it.
Tampa 31, Washington 23. I think 43-year-old Tom Brady chronologically is 23 biologically, the way I watched him play. 381 yards, 2 more touchdowns. He's hitting the deep ball, and Antonio's really come through. You talk about a group of good receivers with Antonio and Evans. The tight end has really stepped. Godwin, and the other tight end, not just Gronkowski. Is it Brady?
Brady.
Really
Hey
looked
guys,
good.
the other day, Brady broke a record of George Blandon's, oldest guy.
Throw a touchdown.
So they show Brady there. Then they show Blanda beside him. Looks like his dad. Now he's coming into the stadium smoking a heater. They show a flashback
So different.
to him walking into the stadium at Oakland. He's smoking a lung dart on the way in.
So different. Yep, the game was so
Brady doesn't
different.
eat sugar.
George
That's
Blanding.
that's why he's 43-33 today.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Youngwood PAs, George Blanda.
Yeah.
Had this Saturday, the 16th, it'll be LA at Green Bay. Green Bay favored by 7. That's a 4:35 game. Who do you like? From the West Coast to the frozen tundra.
Green Bay's a big favorite, so it'll be. But I'm a big Ram guy, and I just said if Rams run the football, a lot closer than you think it would be. If they don't, Green Bay wins by 30. So it all comes down to one.
They have a
one
bad
thing.
weather team, the Rams.
Yes.
Even though they're a nice
they're
weather.
great defensively and can run the football. That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
Green Bay, I look at the temperature. And the worse it is, the more I like Green Bay.
I like Green Bay. I'm going to stick picking Green Bay to get to
What are they favored by, 8?
7.
7?
Baltimore at Buffalo. Buffalo by 2. I said before I like either Baltimore or Buffalo to make it to the Super Bowl. That's the evening game on Sunday. Cleveland at Kansas City, a 3:00 game. Kansas City, the Chiefs by 10.
I thought it'd be 14. That's how much
Yeah.
I like Kansas City in that
Because
game.
of the Browns defense.
Yeah, defensively they're so lousy, and they're coming out that win over Pittsburgh. That I'm telling you, can't control the mind. That was like winning the Super Bowl.
A level of
That was
satisfaction
like
there.
winning the Super Bowl for them.
And beat the Steelers 2 games in a row. And then Tampa at New Orleans, the Saints by 3. 42-year-old Breeze against 43-year-old Brady.
That's a tough one.
I like New Orleans in that one.
Their defense has been
No,
terrific.
they're good, really
tough.
good defensively. They can rush Brady, put pressure on Brady. I like New Orleans.
And if Tampa can't run on them and Brady has to throw 50 times, that plays into their
I
hands.
thought that line was low. Field goal.
Field
I thought
goal,
it'd be
3
4 or
points.
5. I'm surprised.
And
Brady gets that line down. That's
Brady.
why. That's Brady's line.
Brady now 31-11 in playoff games.
Well, what he's done is justify what I said all along. He's the reason all those Super Bowls are up in New England. Yeah, it's Belichick's, remember, one of the top 5 coaches of all time. I'll say it again. He wins zilch
Yeah.
without Brady. Because Tampa Bay was It's the same team.
I agree.
Except
I
for
agree
Brown.
with you.
It's the same team they brought back from last year. How can they go like this? One guy makes you look like that.
Well, I agree with you
30
because
turnovers.
I don't care. I don't care how good the jockey is. He's not going to win the Kentucky Derby on Francis the Mule.
And remember, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to say it. I'm going to make fans know this. He's one of the 5 greatest coaches of all time. He's an unbelievable coach.
Yeah.
But Brady's the one that
He,
won
he needs a quarterback.
Yeah,
And Newton
you have
wasn't
somebody
the
like
answer.
that.
Right.
He's just different. Tampa Bay goes on the field thinking they're
Now,
going to win.
now, what I'm hearing, we're going to get to the college football, but Belichick and Saban are real good friends, and Belichick, I'm hearing, would like to be in a position to grab Mac Jones.
Really?
That's what I'm hearing. How true it is,
That's interesting.
I don't know. He needs a quarterback.
He needs one. I don't think Mac Jones
I
is a
thought
pro.
Garoppolo was coming back.
But here's the thing, big money, he already has that contract.
money thing,
Getting the
yeah.
money thing. They need some other weapons on offense. Defense, they have, 4 guys coming back who opted out because of COVID. Really 4 good players coming back. So,
Tell you, the division finally on the upswing. Miami and Buffalo are both better than they've been.
and Miami, Chan Gailey stepped down after that loss.
You know what's
to
interesting
Buffalo.
about Belichick? It's interesting because he makes those statements. He said, I don't know if they're coming back or not. I really don't care. See, in today's world, those 4 guys might think, oh, he doesn't need it. I'll go somewhere else then.
Hey, here's some other intrigue. Miami thinking about a quarterback. What's that?
Oh,
tell
I
you?
think you have to.
Yeah.
They're thinking
I
about a
don't
quarterback.
think
I'm not a big Tua guy at all.
Are good.
No.
Hey, Belichick turned down that presidential award.
I like that. He
Yes,
went up my
That
eyes.
makes me think that he's not planning on going anywhere.
No, I don't
he
think
is
he's
either.
going anywhere. All right, let's go to the college football championship. What have I said numerous times? I gave you guys the scores last week. It's another blowout. Alabama 52, Ohio State 24. The 3rd college football playoff championship for Alabama. They've been 3-2 in the championship games, but I tell you, they've been to 5 of them. The 6th title in 12 years for Bama under Saban. His 7th overall, the one from LSU. He passes Bear Bryant, who had 6. Actually, Bear had 5. They gave him one, but they gave him the one in '73. UPI gave it to him when the season ended. Then he lost to Notre Dame in the
Amazing.
Sugar Bowl championship game, but they claim it as a national
The ones from the
championship.
Birmingham News don't count.
Yeah, but that's where it came from.
Yeah, I'm sorry, they
I'm
don't
sorry.
count,
Yeah, Notre Dame was the consensus
And
national
Notre
champion.
Dame, you can tell, they may have laid an egg, but it was no worse than,
Actually, in the second half of the Notre Dame-Bama game, they held Bama to 1 scoring drive, and Bama punted 4 times. Nobody's done that to them all year.
Bama's clearly the best team.
Oh, my God.
That's all. Just that's a statement. It's just not. Their recruiting puts them up here.
Albert, I'm going to get to that. The Heisman Trophy winner, Devontae Smith,
Oh, jeez.
12 catches, 215 yards, 3 touchdowns. Only the first half. I hope he's okay. He injured his hand. I hope it wasn't anything
I told him,
serious.
he put me onto him about 6 weeks ago. And I started watching him more closely. Like last night, he runs away from guys who you know are fast.
And you know what you like about him? He scores, gives
He's
the
the
ball
best.
to the
He's the
official,
best.
sits down, doesn't jump up and down. Just a great player.
Yeah.
Quarterback Mac Jones, 4 touchdown passes. Press me, he made a couple of key runs to keep plays going. But still, it's another blowout. And here's where I want to go. College football, the playoffs, it's become a regional game. It's not national anymore. It's an uneven field. West Coast is out of the picture.
Completely.
The last Southern Cal won it in 2005. They're not there anymore. There's no Eastern Power anymore, unless you want to count
They're not there
Clemson.
either.
Look at this. The Big Ten Network, they have 54 million subscribers. The Pac-12 has 16.
It's regional, like you said. It's regional.
In 7 years of the college football playoff, only 11 teams have participated out of 130. And who's dominated? Who's been in the Alabama, Clemson? All 7 years they've been in it. Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State have 11 of the 14 spots in the national championship game. This has become predictable, and sometimes predictable eventually becomes boring to the point that fans across the nation lose interest, but not regionally. Guys, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, they have all the 5-star recruits. Bama, as you said, 50 players from Alabama, but they go into Florida and get the best players out of Florida. So here's my suggestion. Oklahoma, Notre Dame, they get many 4 stars, but they can't get enough talent to beat those 3 teams on a consistent basis. I'm saying, as we said before, formed their own Power 5 conference. All champions from the Power 5 are in the playoff, plus 3 at-large teams. You expand the field to 8 to try to get some national interest in there. What do you guys think?
Well, my first thought on this is because of the social media today, we're all on it. We see everything. But it's
Yeah.
been like this forever. At one time, it was Nebraska, Oklahoma, Florida State, Virginia Tech. That was for 4 years. Before that, Notre Dame was there every year.
Yeah.
It's always been, but now it really stands out because everybody knows
Yeah.
every team. You know,
Right.
like when we grew up, Notre Dame was there every year. Texas was there every year. So
But when you look at the 80s and 90s,
Southern
though,
Cal.
at
Yeah.
that time, yeah, they were always the same way.
and you look at the 80s and 90s, though, you had Notre Dame win a championship, Ohio State, Florida State, Nebraska, Miami, then Washington and Michigan even shared it one year. So it was kind of
A little different,
It was
but
across
it was still the same 5 or 6 teams. I mean,
They
it's
were
always
just
been
picking
that
them,
way.
but at least now there's some type of system.
It's just
Yeah.
crazy now.
But
It's crazy now.
there's
though.
no parity at
But
all.
we know Alabama's gonna be there next year. I
Yeah,
don't care
but,
how, I don't
okay.
care how many they graduate. They're gonna be there again.
Here's my preseason top 10. And things are going to change next year. You have the names, imaging, and license coming in. Pay for athletes possible. My preseason top 10: Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State. Why? They have all the
They have 5 stars.
they have all the 5
They
Do they
stars.
have anyone back who wants to come back, right?
Yes.
Yes. And then after them, I have Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Oregon, USC, and LSU.
Yeah.
But the gap between those top 3 and the bottom 7 is huge.
I agree. The one team that can do that, if they got better coaching, is Georgia. Georgia has enough 5 stars to join that group. They're missing something in the correlation.
You know what really hurt them? When they blew that championship game to Alabama.
Yes.
Yes.
That really
Who
hurt
was
them.
second and 26 or third?
Guess who got that
Unbelievable.
pass? Devonta Smith.
Now let's look at the regional teams for next year. Pitt finished 6-5. They had 6 wins against teams with losing records, all 5 losses against teams with winning records. Kenny Pickett's coming back. They had a great recruiting class, 21 ranked, but 17 out of the last 20 years, Pitt's lost at least 5 games. Narduzzi in his 7th year, what's expected?
Well, they didn't get it done this year for me. I really thought this would be a big year for them. George looked at the schedule early and thought they'd have 3 wins and then move on. This past year was their year, but Pickett coming back really gives them hope. That's what I'll say that.
Yeah, because you put the type of quarterback he is into their recruiting class, so to speak, and it really elevates.
Yes.
Penn State 4-5. They lost 5 in a row, won their last 4. They have some players coming back. I expect them to be better. I think the biggest upside, what Neil Brown's done at West Virginia, they finished 6-4. I think things are looking up for the Mountaineers.
No doubt. He's a good coach. I saw
Tough
him
league,
coach before. Yeah.
Boy, I'll tell you,
Tough-
when
tough
you're easy
league.
games at TCU, that's a tough league. People don't realize.
Tough league, and geographically,
Yeah.
they
West
belong in
Virginia.
the ACC. The traveling just
Well,
kills
Virginia Tech
kills
didn't
them.
want 'em. Virginia Tech doesn't
and
want
it's like West Virginia's kind of fallen off the radar around here.
I do like
because of that.
you bringing him up though, because
Yeah.
Brown's a good coach.
I think he's
They
done an
bring a lot of
excellent
Florida
job.
players in. They have a chance to be good.
They beat a
And
good
Penn
Army
State
team.
fired the OC. They got a new OC.
Hey, that's it for us. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.